What's up, everyone? This is Tom with Go Fast Campers, here to do an installation on a Dodge. Gonna walk you through a bit about the procedure with getting a camper on your truck if you're gonna do it at your house. First step is we're gonna get this camper in the air. We have a crane here. If you're at home, I'd just grab a couple friends. And we've got Matt here to help us out. We've got one good arm on him, so that should be able to get the camper on the truck. Always good to remember, last time you're going to be able to touch the front of this panel with or without the window, so it's good to get it cleaned up before you get it on the truck. Windex on, Windex off.
Sound inputs into that if you guys are doing depending on what you guys.
So we are cutting the double bulb seal to lay on the bed rails of the truck. This is kind of your barrier between the camper and the bed rails, cuts down on vibration, puts a bit of a seal on it. It's just a double bulb seal from the guys over at Trimlock. And for each truck, the bed rails have like a visual indicator that you'll find, so you know exactly where to put the bulb seal. So there's one piece of bulb seal per side rail on the truck. The front of the bed rail, the cab side bed rail, you get a lot of variations between truck models. Sometimes it's offset by an inch, sometimes it's flush. Sometimes it's just like a 1/4 inch down. So you can either get some high density foam to lay under this or double it up, which is what we're going to do on this model here in particular. So this bulb seal has a mild adhesive on the bottom. It's really not made to glue itself directly to the bed rail. You just want it held in place before you get the camper on the truck. Another thing to keep in mind, this is the last time you're going to touch the rear windshield for a while, so it's worth cleaning that off before you get the camper on as well. Sweet, and like I said, there's kind of different visual indicators for each style of bed rail, depending on the truck model. With the Dodges, there's actually just a clean flat bed, so we kind of have to eye it out, and don't be afraid to lift that camper back up to adjust the bulb seal. You do want a good clean fit. We've got a lower cab side bed rail than the side rails, and we don't want any gap between the camper and the bed rail, so simple solution for that is just to double it up. In terms of how I'm layering it like this, what we want is a minimum of a 1/2 inch clearance between the camper and the truck. Now, you've got to pay attention to a number of different things. That 1/2 inch clearance could be, you know, the tail light here touching the camper. It could be the end cap and the cab right here. But you want, at its closest point, a minimum of a 1/2 inch clearance between the camper and the truck. So what I'm accounting for here is that clearance. I want the front rail of the frame to be centered on the bulb seal, and I know with this specific truck model, I can layer it here, and it's going to sit right in that bulb seal with that minimum 1/2 inch clearance met. Once we get this on, we're going to drop this camper on and check our bulb seal. This is the time when you don't really want to rush it. You know, we've got it easy here with the crane, but don't be afraid to lift that camper back off the truck to redo the bulb seal. You've really got one shot at doing it. Once you tighten down the hardware and compress this bulb seal, you're probably going to have to replace it if you ever want to, you know, realign it. But we might actually have to realign. So we've got the camper mostly on the truck. While we're using the mechanical advantage of the crane, we're just going to kind of square it up, check our bulb seal. If we have to lift it up, we're not scared to do that. We want to make sure the bulb seal is sitting proper directly under the frame. So we're just checking our square, and again, you really want to check between the truck cab and the front of the camper. There's numerous points that you can see that get close. You want to find whatever's closest and make sure you've got at least a 1/2 inch clearance. Some of the big trucks we like a little more, and the older trucks like a first gen Tacoma, you've got more bed flex, so you want to make sure you've got maybe closer to 3/4 to an inch of clearance between the cab and the camper. So camper's on the truck. We've got it all centered up, looking good on the bulb seal. Last thing that's left to do is to attach it to the truck bed. There's 4 attachment points for each camper, regardless of XL or standard. And then we've got our mounting hardware here. This is one style of the upper mounting bracket that goes onto the frame, and then we've got to attach that to the truck bed. With this particular truck, we're actually going to clamp under that bed rail with this ledger block system, and it's all adjustable. So we've got our mounting hardware all pre-rigged here. This is how we like to do it in the shop. Reason being, we're going to put this under the bed rail, so it's going to trap itself, and then this is going to get mounted to the frame. It's a real pain in the ass to try to hold this bottom mounting bracket up and then thread a bolt with a washer on it, so we just pre-set up everything before we get it on the truck. So we got the mounting hardware all set up. Obviously it's not attached to the frame yet, so what we've got for that is a 1/2-inch bolt and a curved washer. So it's actually curved to sit flush with the frame, and to make sure that we've got it oriented right, we just like to put a little tick mark so you know if it's either up or down, it's sitting right. So as we attach this, I'm going to thread the bolt. And it's important to remember that this bolt isn't structural. Your gripping power is coming from the radius of the foot here, grabbing the frame. So I'm going to pull that all the way up and back toward myself before I tighten it down. So we'll repeat that 3 more times for each mount point, and then it's time to tighten it to the bed. Cool, we're ready to tighten down the mounting hardware. You just need 2 tools, 9/16 crescent wrench, and we have an electronic ratchet with a 9/16 bit. We've got our bolt here, the 9/16 bolt with a nylon lock nut, and it's thread locked as well. So you'll notice the mechanism to tighten this down. What's going to happen, this upper foot is going to get pulled up and in, and the fulcrum bar on the upper mounting bracket is going to push it down and out to square everything up. There's no torque spec on this 9/16 bolt. There's just too much variation between the bed rails, the integrity of the bed that we're attaching to, and it's going to compress a little bit with that bulb seal, so you just want to go till it's good and tight and then a 1/2 turn further. When you first mount the camper, it's going to settle onto the bed rails over the course of the next few weeks, so make sure you come back through and check it out within a couple 100 miles. So I like to tighten the back 2 first and then the front 2. You can reverse that if you like. I just avoid going in a circle just so it doesn't pull that camper off center on the bed rails. Our lower mounting tab, you want to make sure there's at least 2 millimeters of space showing on this lower mounting bracket after you tighten it down to the upper portion. So I've got Matt here to spread the back of this camper out a little bit, make sure we've got the desired clearance. So with Matt's help, it's hard to tell, but you've got about 2 full millimeters that I can get my fingernail on. That's all the clearance you really need to make sure it stays put. So we're going to repeat that on all 4 mounting brackets. Last step is to trim the bulb seal on the rear, and then you're good to go. Last step we missed. We've already done it on this camper, but you want to put the tailgate seal on to get that nice flush fit with the tailgate. So it's going to come square cut like this. We like to taper the end with some snips, and then you just pop it on all the way through, and then you've got a nice clean look on the back end. So that does it for the V2 camper install. If you have any questions, as always, reach out, support@gfcengineering.com. Peace. Are we done? Are we done? We're done? It's getting hot.